got so motherfucking design on right now. Bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. I got 3 old guys to
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Alif. In this video, me and my friend Izul, Amsha and Ali will present a little bit about our assignment text, which is GST and SST. Let's go. Let's start with introduction and background first. Malaysia's tax to GDP ratio is 11.8%, which is among the lowest in Southeast Asia. Countries like Singapore and Thailand use GST or VAT systems, resulting in higher tax revenues. Malaysia previously implemented GST but replaced it with SST, leading to lower tax revenue collections. Under GST, Malaysia generated RM 40 billion in tax revenue. With SST, the collection dropped to less than RM 30 billion. SST currently accounts for only about 50% of total tax collection. The government plans to increase the SST rate from 6% to 8% starting March 1, 2024 to boost revenue. Exclusions from the new SST rate include services such as food and beverage, telecommunication, parking and logistics, but the scope has expanded to include brokerage, underwriting and karaoke.
I will explain about the GST first, and in my explanation, I will explain about the advantages and disadvantages of GST. GST, as we know, which is a goods and service tax, which is a business collects tax from the customer and give it to the government. So for the advantages of the GST is a larger tax base, which is GST applies to more goods and services throughout the supply chain, meaning more tax money. Second one is efficiencies and transparency. GST lower the effect of tax on tax, which means that prices are clearer for both business and customer. And the third one is competitiveness in the economy. GST can make domestic goods more competitive in domestic and foreign market by eliminating the cascading tax effect. Number 4 is compliance, which is the tax system is easier for business to follow when tax rates are the same and there are fewer tax breaks. And the last one is generation of revenue, which is a Malaysia previous implementation show GST can bring in much more money than SST. Next, let's move to the disadvantages of GST. Disadvantages of the GST, first of all, is regressive, which is GST is a consumption-based tax. It can hurt people with lower income than others who spend more money on goods and services. Second is cost of implementation. Changing to GST involves big change to accounting system and process, meaning business must pay more to maintain compliance. And the third one is inflationary pressure. When GST is first implemented, price may go up temporarily while business get used to the new tax system. Number 4 is complexity. GST is meant to make tax easier, but it can be hard to implement, especially for small business struggling to handle it. Let's move to the SST. SST or Sales and Service Tax is a tax system in Malaysia that consists of two parts: a sales tax on goods at the manufacturing level and a service tax on certain service. And the first advantages of SST is a simpler tax structure, which is compared to GST. SST is usually easier to understand and implement, and fewer rules must be followed. Second is the lower cost of compliance. Because of SST require less secretarial work, business may have a lower cost of compliance. And the last one is targeted taxation. The SST can be applied more carefully to certain goods and services, making it easier to get the needed money.
Okay, next we move to the disadvantages of the SST. First, we have narrower tax base. The SST cover fewer goods and services, bringing in less tax money altogether. Second, we have cascading effect. The SST can cause a cascading tax effect, which means that the tax is applied at several production and distribution steps, making the final price higher. Third, we have less money coming in. As seen in Malaysia, SST bring in less money than GST, limiting the government spending ability. And fourth, we have economic distortion. Applying SST in certain situations can change the market, impacting how well the economy works and how people act. Move to the next slide. Should Malaysia revert to GST to increase its tax revenue? Okay, first, we have higher revenue potential. GST's broader tax base includes more goods and services, resulting in higher revenue generation. Under GST, Malaysia previously collected 40 billion ringgit compared to less than 30 billion ringgit under SST. Next is economic efficiency. GST eliminate the cascading tax effect where tax are applied at multiple stages of production and distribution. GST reduce overall costs for business and consumers, leading to more transparent pricing. It promotes a more competitive business environment, enhancing economic efficiency. Next point is alignment with neighbors. Reverting to GST align Malaysia's tax system with those of many Southeast Asian countries. It facilitates smoother trade and economic cooperation within the region, and it enhances Malaysia's integration into regional economic frameworks, attracting foreign investment. Last point is mitigating regressive impact. GST is a consumption tax which can disproportionately affect lower income population. Mitigating strategy include exemption for essential goods and services to reduce the burden on low-income groups. Implementing targeted subsidies and social assistance programs can help protect vulnerable population from the regressive effect of GST.
Alright, thank you to my fellow friends that had been presented before. Now it's my turn to give you guys summary about the question A. So this is it. The first one is reverting to GST will likely enhance Malaysia's fiscal health, providing higher revenue for development projects, public service. So the second one is proper implementation and support measures can mitigate potential negative impacts on lower income population. So we go to the next. Alright guys, next let's delve into the suitable tax system for Malaysian economic context. So the first one is the revenue generations. GST broader tax base can significantly increase the government revenue, which is essential for funding development projects and public services. Next is higher and more stable revenue streams compared to the SST. Secondly, GST is efficiency and competitiveness. Why we say that? Because GST eliminates the cascading tax effects, resulting in more transparent pricings and lower overall costs, and it also enhances the economic efficiency by reducing market distortions and promoting fair competition. It also makes domestic products more competitive in both domestic and international market. Lastly is GST is flexibility. GST allows for adjustment in tax rate and expansion of the tax base, providing a dynamic and responsive tax and can be scaled to address various fiscal needs and economic conditions, and also in ensuring a stable revenue stream. Alright guys, to conclude that, while SST offers simplicity, its low revenue generation and economic distortion make it less favorable. Meanwhile, GST with its border-based efficiency and flexibility better support Malaysia's long-term fiscal and economic goals. Lastly, by implementing appropriate safeguards for lower income groups, GST emerged as the more effective and suitable tax system for Malaysia. That's all from our group. Thank you and bye.